End of question. Government Bill, first reading, Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing Amendment Bill 2022. Second reading, Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. President, I move the second reading of the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing Amendment Bill 2022, the bill. Through amending the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing Ordinance, AMLO, the bill aims to enhance Hong Kong's regulatory regime for combating money laundering and terrorist financing in fulfillment of Hong Kong's obligations under the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, as well as promote investor protection to consolidate Hong Kong's status as an international financial center. There are two main parts to the bill, including A licensing regime for virtual asset service providers, VASPs, and B, a registration regime for dealers in precious metals and stones, DPMS, so as to impose statutory AML-CTF obligations on these two sectors. Furthermore, the opportunity is taken to address a number of miscellaneous issues under the AMLO, which have been identified in the Mutual Evaluation Report and other FATF contexts. Having regard to the FATF standards and the risks presented by virtual assets, VA, activities in Hong Kong, we propose that a license is to be required for the carrying on of a business of operating a VA exchange. And operating of a VA exchange must apply to the Securities and Futures Commission, SFC, for a license. The applicant must meet the fit and proper person criteria and comply with the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing AML-CTF requirements under the AMLO, which include requirements on customer due diligence and record keeping, etc. There is also a robust set of statutory regulatory requirements to be imposed as license conditions by the SFC, which cover matters including that the licensed VASP should have adequate financial resources, knowledge and experience, risk management policies and procedures, VA listing and trading policies, proper financial reporting and disclosure, as well as mechanisms to prevent market manipulative and abusive activities and conflicts of interest. Given the risks associated with VA may not be suitable for all investors. We propose to impose requirements on licensed VASPs at the initial stage so they may only offer services to professional investors. On DPMS, under the proposed registration regime, any person seeking to carry on a business of dealing in precious metals and precious stones in Hong Kong will be required to register with the Commissioner of Customs and Excise. There are two categories of registrants under the proposed registration regime. Category A registrants must not engage in any cash transactions with customers at or above 120,000 Hong Kong dollars. The registration is relatively straightforward and registrants are not subject to AML-CTF requirements. For DPMS who wish to engage in cash transactions with customers at or above 120,000 Hong Kong dollars, as there are higher money monitoring risks involved, they must register as Category B registrants and be subject to AML-CTF requirements. The bill also includes miscellaneous amendments to follow up on the recommendations of in FATF's Mutual Evaluation Report on Hong Kong. President, we consulted the electrical panel on financial affairs in February this year on the proposal. We were encouraged that members were in general in support of the bill. We also conducted a public consultation sometime earlier. There is broad support for the government to strengthen Hong Kong's AML-CTF system, having regard to international standards in keeping with our status as an international financial center. In taking forward the legislative exercise, we have carefully considered the business environment of the relevant sectors in Hong Kong, as we set up an effective system for addressing AML-CTF risks in the concerned sectors. We strive to minimize regulatory regime and compliance costs on the businesses. President, we note that the VA market has been highly volatile in recent days. I wish to remind the public again that VA investment activities carry high risks. The public should acquire a thorough understanding of the nature, risk, and possible changes in value before trading in VA. Otherwise, they should not engage in VA activities. We will work with SFC and the Investor and Financial Education Council to step up education of investors in VA risks. The police will also crack down harder on fraud associated with VA. Given the risk associated with VA, we impose a requirement on the licensed VAP/SP platforms to offer services to professional investors only. We will also make it an offense for any person to induce another person through fraud or misrepresentation to make VA investment, whether or not the person is a professional or retail investor. We believe the multi-pronged approach will be effective in lowering the risk that VA would bring to Hong Kong. President, an effective AMF-CTL regulatory regime would help to consolidate Hong Kong's status as an international financial center. We hope the Council will pass the bill as soon as possible. I so submit. Thank you, President. And I'll propose the question to you that the aforesaid bill be read the second time. In accordance with the rules of procedure, the second reading debate is adjourned and the bill is referred to the House Committee. This Council resumes the